Hello, marvellous Facebook and YouTube as well. If it's a bit later, oh, you can see a reflection of me right in there. Never seen that before. Anyway, that's besides the point. Welcome to Body in Balance. I am Chris Pickard, and this week is Diabetes Awareness Week. And why am I originally trained as a chiropractor? Now I do a lot of functional neurology, a lot of functional nutrition. That should give you a clue. Why am I so passionate about diabetes and trying to fix it? And why am I so passionate about trying to save the NHS? Well, hello Elizabeth Curley. Well, it's because at the moment, the way that the health of the nation is going, increased obesity, increased dementia, increased diabetes, we're going to cripple the NHS. And the thing about preventing diabetes, the thing about preventing dementia, about preventing back pain, about preventing heart disease, is it all comes down to the same thing. It's about educating people about lifestyle. You can either wait to get sick, and 95% of the population are going to die from these preventable chronic diseases of lifestyle choice, and they make the choices as well, some of them wittingly, some of them completely unwittingly. And so you can wait till you get really sick, and you can take drugs that might prolong your unhealthy lifespan, which will cripple the NHS, by the way, so don't do it. Or you can take proactive steps. Now the problem is, most people don't realise what those proactive steps are, including medical doctors, because they're under so much pressure in the present that they can't really figure out the long-term goal, the long-term problem. Okay, so lifestyle. You cannot fix lifestyle once you've done it for 20 years with a pill. You have to change your lifestyle. So why not change it in the first place? Well, a lot of people think that eating 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 pieces of fresh fruits and vegetables is enough. And then, but everyone still eats breakfast cereal, they have sandwiches for lunch, they have lots of wheat and grains, lots of wheat and grains, lots of wheat and grains. And then they eat meat, which is often fed wheat and grains. Now, there's nothing wrong with small amounts of wheat and grains. It's just that now we're having far too much of it, and the wheats and the grains are covered in toxins. And this leads to increased health problems, increased inflammation in our body, the decreased ability of our cells to actually get the information from the hormones that are being released, reduced ability of the nervous system to conduct information where it needs to go as well. And there's not just all the toxins on the wheat and the grains and all the other fruits and vegetables. We're breathing this shit in as well. And air pollution does actually contribute to diabetes and obesity. There's lots of chemicals. And so having a healthy lifestyle isn't just about not eating rubbish. It's about actually eating amazingly well, eating a lot more plants than most people realise, but also doing something to lower the toxic load in your body in as many ways as possible. And exercise as well, and mental attitude. There's a whole load of things. And these are things that I try and teach all of my patients. I have a welcome series when they come in that they get exclusively. Then I have online training programs for those that don't want to become patients, but they want to learn everything that I teach them as well. And one of the most critical things is about not eating. You see, in the past, we naturally went through times of having very, very low calorie times or no calorie times. And our body is actually geared to using no calories, i.e. starvation and fasting, for short periods, not for extended periods, short periods, 5 days really at most. Or I should say ideally 5 days, not 3 days, not 2 days, but 4 or 5, maybe 6 days. And it actually utilises this period to eat all the bad rubbish and replace it with new stuff when we start refeeding. And low calorie has shown to have a dramatic effect on diabetes. And tonight, if you're watching this live, tonight, I think it's at 9 o'clock on BBC 1 or 2, can't remember which, and it might be repeated tomorrow, just in case you're watching it tomorrow. I think it is repeated, but it will be on the BBC iPlayer, I'm sure. They're introducing a program called I think it's called the Diabetes Fast Track. Now, this is based on some work done years ago. I'm putting people through, I think, an 8 or a 9 or maybe even just been a 6-week program of eating 600 calories a day or less. And I think the program tonight is about an 8-week program where you stick to 600 calories a day. Now, that's great, and it's shown to be amazingly good for diabetics and obviously losing weight. But the problem with staying with that amount of calories for such a long time, I don't think it's actually as beneficial as following the fasting mimicking diet, which is only for 5 days. Then you eat well for 3 weeks, then you have another fasting mimicking diet. And I think this is going to be more beneficial, and probably maybe more beneficial than the program they're going to talk about tonight. But if you have diabetes, if you know someone with diabetes or pre-diabetes, get them to watch the program tonight, because I'm sure it's going to be full of valuable information, and then they can go to their doctor and say, what about this program? What about this plan? And they can get onto something which I'm hoping they're going to say the NHS is going to be providing. But I have a feeling it's just limited trials. But we'll find out tonight. So, diabetes, there's a lot that can be done to both prevent it and a lot that can be done to actually treat and reverse it. And that's just 2 of the things. Okay, low calorie and fasting mimicking diets, which you should only go on if you're going to be supervised, okay, because you really do want to make sure that you're not going to have any problems. And someone's saying it's on ITV, not BBC. There you go. I thought it was BBC because I saw an interview on the BBC about it. There you go. So it's 9 o'clock, whatever it is, and it's tonight. Now, for those of you that got my email this morning, I was speaking about why do 95% of the population die of preventable diseases. I think I've answered that really. It's because they just don't know any better, and we have to educate people about the dangers of toxins, about what a real diet's all about, and the importance of fasting, the actual importance of not eating to reboot your health. And I also spoke about symptoms like itching and also memory loss. How can blood sugar problems cause itching and memory loss? Well, you've heard of diabetes type 1, which is an autoimmune condition. And yes, there is some evidence that actually fasting can help reverse diabetes type 1 as well. Again, has to be medically supervised. Diabetes type 2, that's what I'm talking about at the moment. But then Alzheimer's has actually been named in some circles diabetes type 3, because they think that Alzheimer's may be something like related, maybe diabetes of the brain. There's still a lot of theories about Alzheimer's, but certainly if blood sugar is an issue, then it can be an issue in the brain as well, and it's not going to help. So increased diabetes is linked to increased Alzheimer's. There's certainly some kind of link. So yes, all your memory problems, forgetfulness, changes in behaviour that can lead or be the first parts of Alzheimer's could actually be fixed by fixing blood sugar. And again, we know that fasting mimicking diets and fasting and going into ketosis is tremendously good for the brain. So how about that? It's tremendously good for diabetics and it's tremendously good for the brain when done properly. Please get advice. Please ask to join the Health Lab if you're not already in there. We're gathering some real experts on the fasting mimicking diet. And yes, itching. So how could diabetes cause itching in those unwanted areas down below? Well, it's quite simply to do with the fact that fungus feeds on sugar. And so if your cells are not getting the signals from insulin to suck blood sugar from the blood and into the cells, it circulates in the blood, it also gets into the urine more, you get rid of a lot more sugar, and so you end up with irritated bladders, a great feeding ground for funguses and bacteria that can cause itching, thrush, etc. So that's how it can cause itching. Now, while I'm talking about insulin, I was talking to, I had someone referred to me for help with their lifestyle management for their diabetes. And this is something else I want to mention is insulin. pretty much most of the patients that I've seen have no idea whether they've ever had their insulin levels tested. And this can be critical as to actually understanding what's happening in your body. Because your cells can fail to suck blood sugar into them, whether your insulin's high or low. Because if your cells are becoming resistant to the actual messengers of insulin, your pancreas can be absolutely fine and it can be pumping out 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 times as much insulin as a normal person. And eventually then the pancreas gets tired and gives up. But all this insulin then starts causing other problems around the body. You store fat like crazy, magnesium problems, you can have heart problems. And so if you've got really high insulin, there's a lot of things that you need to do that someone who's got low insulin, because their pancreas really isn't working, there's different things that can be done. So again, if you know someone who's diabetic, if you know someone who's having chronic health problems, okay, and they've been told they've got diabetes and they've had their blood sugar tested, but they've never had their insulin levels tested, get them to get their insulin levels tested to find out whether it's high or low, because it can mean different therapies and different ways of working will have effects on their diabetes and their pancreas and their long-term health. So thank you very much for watching. And again, if you know someone who is a lot more tired, they're getting very thirsty, dry mouth, dry eyes, itching, maybe some memory loss, maybe they've got increased hunger but they're losing weight, and they want some help, then pass them this video. We're doing free diabetes screening this month. It's a free 15-minute checkup to see whether or not I think people would actually benefit from the kind of program of care that I offer. Definitely recommend people check out the program tonight on apparently ITV at 9 o'clock. And our phone number is 01707 662 704, or you can go to our website bodyimbalanceuk.com. And remember, live long and prosper, because you're a geek just like me who wants to live a long and fabulous life.